Well, hello. Welcome to Orchid Blooms Podcast. Welcome back, bloomers. I am your host, Orchid Brown with Orchid Blooms Podcast. You can find me on TikTok, X, and Blue Skies at Orchid I Brown. Before we get into the podcast episode, I wanted to take this opportunity to inform you that we have 4 new blog post on the Obsession blog, which is located at taonetwork.ca/blog. One of the topics are why people hate it when you like yourself. The second is the power of silence. The third is big energy, the power they can't steal. And the fourth is you wanted my reaction, but you got my results. So I really hope that you enjoy the read. Pick whichever one you want to read, enjoy it, see if it aligns with what's happening in your life or what you have been through in your life. And I hope you enjoy it. This week's podcast episode will be on Manifestation Interrupted. It is a part 2 and support for the first podcast episode called Law of Attraction and Manifestation. In that episode, I discussed the history of law of attraction and manifestation. We covered myths, what does it mean to choose death over life, how our words and thoughts can cancel what we're trying to bring into our lives, and releasing negativity. If you've been listening for a while, you may remember that a couple of years ago, I did this podcast episode. If you can't recall, I invite you to listen to that podcast episode again. Since then, I have grown, my perspectives have shifted, and my life experience has deepened. What I believed back then isn't always what I believe now. And that's part of the journey. Our understanding expands as we do. So today I want to revisit manifestation, but this time through the lens of what interrupts it. Back in the first episode, I talked about the law of attraction and manifestation almost as if they were separate pieces, but I never fully explained why I saw them as connected. Let me clarify that up to today, the law of attraction is the principle like attracts like. Energy attracts energy. Whatever vibrations you're sending out, you pull more of it into your experience. Manifestation is the practice. It's how that principle takes shape into your life. It's the process of focusing your thoughts, feelings, and actions into alignment with what you want, and then watching it materialize. So when I say law of attraction and manifestation are connected, it's because one is the foundation and the other is the outcome. You cannot really separate them. And here's the kicker. You don't just work in the positive, negative thoughts, negative words, negative people. They attract more of the same. That's where interruption comes in. In that early episode, I said something I don't believe anymore. I said just because it doesn't work out in the past doesn't mean it won't work in the future. That sounded hopeful back then, but today I see it differently. The past belongs in the past. If a situation, a relationship, or a pattern didn't serve you then, why would dragging it into the present or future create something different? When we bring the past into our present, we're not manifesting, we're recycling. And recycling old pains, old patterns, or old people only interrupts the manifestation of what's meant for us now. I had to learn to let the past be the past. That meant releasing people I once cared about, even those I thought might have had a future role in my life. But keeping them around was like putting a kink in the hose. My manifestation couldn't flow because the energy was blocked. A few years ago, manifestation in my life was much quicker. Even though I said in that podcast episode that, I'm not really sure how manifestation truly works, at the time, I didn't know truly what I was manifesting. And so now, as I truly learn about manifestation and I look back at the past, I noticed that a lot of things that I had manifested in a short period of time, 3 to 6 months max. But I noticed that lately, or the past couple of years, it has taken a year for me to manifest something. And by the time the year is up, I completely forgot about it. So when the manifestation does come in, I'm like, why? What is this? Why? And I remembered saying that to a coworker that I used to work with. I just walked into his office and I said, I can't believe this came to me. And he was like, okay. And I said, why would I want this? It's like, it's so heavy. It's not something that I asked for. Like, yes, I wanted something like this, but this is going to be a hassle to take care of. And then I got home and I went to sleep and I woke up the next day and I'm like, oh my God, I manifested this. I manifested this a year ago. I even remember what season, what month, everything. And then I had to go back to work and I looked at him and I said, I was wrong. And he's like, oh. I said, well, I forgot I manifested this a year ago. It just came in a package that I didn't want. And I saw it as a hassle, but I did ask for this a year ago. And he looked at me and he laughed at me because he's like, really? And I was like, oh my God, my manifestation has now prolonged. Now I find that manifestations are happening a year at a time. I don't like that. I want to go back to 3 months to 6 months. I'm not about that life. So I need to fix this. I need to go back to the way that I manifested before. Quick. I don't have to wait a year and forget. It just happens. So let's talk about these interruptions because that's really the heart of this episode. Interruptions come in many forms, but they all have one thing in common. They pull you out of alignment with what you're asking for. The first on the list is holding on to the past, which means when you hold on to the past or past relationship, past failures, or even past versions of yourself, you're telling the universe, I'm not ready for new. And the universe listens. You stay stuck in a loop. The second is negative self-talk. Manifestations isn't just about vision boards or affirmation. It's about the words you repeat daily. If you say, I'll never have that, or things never work out for me, you cancel your manifestation in real time. You're basically rejecting your own blessings. Third, toxic relationships. People can interrupt your manifestation. The ones who drain your energy, dismiss your dreams, or thrive off of your self-doubt, they don't just block your progress, they reroute your focus. Instead of aligning with abundance, you're stuck managing their negativity. And fourth, fear of change. Sometimes the interruption is internal. We want to manifest, but we're afraid of what it requires, which is growth, discomfort, new environments. So we cling to what feels safe, even if it's limiting. Number 5, impatience, which is something I struggle with. This one is huge. Manifestation requires trust in divine timing. When we try to force outcomes, we sabotage the process. Impatience leads to shortcomings, and shortcomings often lead back to the very cycle we're trying to escape. Interruptions comes in many forms, but they all have one thing in common. They put you out of alignment with what you're asking for. I have already talked about things like holding on to the past, negative self-talk, toxic relationship, fear, and impatience, but I wanted to go deeper because there are other interruptions we don't always name out loud. Number 1 on that list is trauma. Trauma interrupts manifestation because it programs you to expect pain, disappointment, or abandonment. Even when you want better, your nervous system is wired for survival, not expansion. Trauma can make abundance feel unsafe because safety was never guaranteed before. Until we address and heal from trauma, it becomes a filter we see life through, blocking our ability to receive fully. Number 2, overthinking. Overthinking kills manifestation. When you obsess over the how, when, or what, if, you choke the flow. Instead of trusting the process, you micromanage it. Overthinking is the brain's way of trying to stay in control, but manifestation isn't about control, it's about alignment and surrender. Number 3, repeating cycles. Sometimes, even after releasing toxic relationships, we find ourselves right back in another one. Why? Because the interruption isn't just externally, it's internally. If the womb isn't healed, the system or the cycle repeats. Manifestation gets interrupted when we keep attracting the same lessons in different bodies. Number 4, limited options. Here's a real one. Sometimes survival interrupts manifestation. When you need a job to pay the bills, you might settle for a toxic work environment. That environment drains you, keeps you stagnant, and suffocates your opportunities. You want to manifest abundance, but your reality forces you into lack just to meet basic needs. It's not because you're failing, it's because your energy is tied up in survival instead of expansion. This is why I say manifestation isn't just a spiritual concept. It's also deeply connected to the systems and environment we live in. Number 5, when need overpower want. This is connected to limited options, but it's worth naming on its own. Sometimes the things we need to survive, food, shelter, income, outweighs what we want to manifest. That imbalance can make us feel like our dreams are slipping farther away. But the truth is, acknowledging the need is not failure, it's strategy. Needs met create the foundation for wants to flourish. Now, I would like to share something personal here. Over the past couple of years, I've released a lot of people who were interrupting my manifestation. And let me tell you, release is not easy. It feels like loss at first. It feels like emptiness. But here's the truth. That emptiness is sacred space. That emptiness is room for something better. When I let go of people who drained me, I began to see opportunities I couldn't see before. When I stopped recycling the past, I finally felt present. And when I stopped making excuses for other people's behavior, I made space for my own growth. Releasing isn't punishment, it's preparation. It prepares you for the blessings you've been asking for. Here's something I've learned. Manifestation isn't just about attracting things, it's about becoming. It's about leveling up into the version of yourself who can hold what you desire. If you want abundance, you have to become someone who manages abundance with gratitude and wisdom. If you want love, you have to become someone who loves yourself enough to recognize and accept healthy love. Interruptions keep you at the level you've outgrown. They're the weight tied to your ankles while you're trying to rise, and the only way to level up is to cut the cord. Sometimes the biggest interruption to manifestation is something we don't even recognize. It's the illusion of progress. The illusion is when we're doing all the surface level work, we're journaling, we're saying affirmations, we're visualizing, we're lighting candles or repeating mantras. From the outside or for the outside, it looks like growth. It looks like alignment, but inside nothing is shifting. Why? Because the deeper work, the subconscious belief, the trauma, the fear, the lack of boundaries, those things are still in control. You can say, I'm worthy of abundance 10 times in the mirror, But if deep down you don't believe it, your subconscious will reject every opportunity that shows up. That is why so many people feel frustrated. They think, I'm doing all the manifestation work. Why isn't it happening? And the truth is, it's because the ritual is empty without alignment. The illusion keeps us stuck because it tricks us into believing we're moving forward when we're actually circling the same block over and over again. The illusion is safe. It feels good to say affirmations and to visualize, but manifestation requires more than just comfort. It requires the willingness to face the uncomfortable truth. Maybe we're still holding on to self-doubt. Maybe we're still replaying old cycles. Maybe we're still surrounding ourselves with people who drain us. Real progress doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes real progress looks like sitting in silence and realizing how much pain you've been avoiding. Sometimes it looks like setting boundaries that make other people angry. Sometimes it looks like walking away from a relationship, a friendship, or even a job that looks good on paper but feels like poison to your soul. Here's the test. If your actions are keeping you comfortable, they may be the illusion of progress. But if your actions are stretching you, challenging you, or forcing you to change, that's where real manifestation begins. Another major interruption in manifestation is our relationship with timing. We live in a culture of instant gratification. Click a button, get what you want. But manifestation doesn't work on our clock. It works on alignment and divine timing. And that's frustrating because we want it now. I want it now. I just feel that I can get aligned when I get there. Just give it to me now. What's wrong with that? Here's the truth. Impatience interrupts manifestation. It makes us doubt ourselves, doubt the process, doubt our worthiness. We start asking, why hasn't it happened yet? What am I doing wrong? And sometimes nothing is wrong. It's just not time. Patience is not punishment. It's preparation. If the manifestation arrives before you were ready, it could destroy you instead of blessing you. Think about it. Wanting a relationship before you've healed might only repeat toxic patterns. Wanting money before you've learned financial discipline could lead to more debt. Wanting success before you've built resilience can leave you broken under the pressure. Sometimes what we call a delay is actually protection. It's the universe making sure that what you desire arrives or when you're able to keep it. For me personally, I feel that patience is punishment. I've felt that for years, but I feel that now it's moved past punishment to just sadness. If I have to be patient, I just kind of go into this sad, depressive mode where I'm like, oh, there's nothing to do. And I mean, I could find something to do. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of those people. I don't know how to sit still. I believe I have ADHD. So, I could always find something to distract myself, but I don't want to rely on distraction just to get through being patient. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Everyone keeps telling me delay is protection. The fact that nothing is lining up the way that you want it to line up. It's not a you thing. It's just not the right timing. But I'm really sick and tired of hearing that. I really am. I would rather you just not say anything at all. Just don't say anything at all. That way I can just sit in silence while I'm being patient. That's just how I feel. I don't want to hear it. If I'm going to have to suffer through patience, just don't say anything to me at all. And I get it. They're trying to be reassuring. They're trying to be hopeful. They're trying to, give me some support. But that's not the support I'm asking for. And technically, I shouldn't even be bringing it up to people who are people pleasers and they just like to tell you whatever you want to hear. These are things I already know. You're repeating something I already know. So I should learn my lesson. I just feel like I should learn my lesson. And this year, I definitely learned my lessons. I don't come to you or anyone to talk about the fact that I'm stuck in this patience, that, the waiting room, waiting for something. I don't have to say that to anybody because I already know what this is. I've done this before. I've been here before. So now I just keep my mouth shut because I really don't want to hear it. Keep it to yourself. But I will put it in this podcast episode because some of you feel reassured when you hear these things. I just keep hearing it all the time and I'm over it. I'm over it. Let me be patient and peace. I'm going to be patient in peace and silence with tranquility. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut going forward. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and just deal. That's what it is. I'm going to just deal. That's why I believe patience is not passive. It's active, which is why I'm always exhausted. Whenever I'm in my patience era, I'm exhausted because I'm like, for real? I just take the moment to rest, just rest in annoyance, but I rest. While you're waiting, you're preparing, you're learning, healing, growing, aligning yourself so that when the doors open, you can walk through it without hesitation. And right now I'm in my patience season and I'm just resting because in order to heal, I need to rest. In order for me to prepare, I need to rest. In order for me to grow, I need to rest. To get into alignment, I need to rest. I need to heal my nervous system. All of that. And it's work. It's work. You're in your patience season, but it's work. So it can be exhausting. The role of timing is powerful because it teaches trust. And that is something that I struggle with, is trusting myself. Years of trying to work on this. First, I worked on acceptance. I've learned to accept myself for who I am. I love both sides, my evil side and my good side. I'm ready to jump in whichever one's coming out. I'm in. I'm locked in. But trusting myself is something that has really taken a lot out of me to do. So this year, I have just been focusing on telling myself every day that I trust myself. I trust myself. Manifestation is not just about creating, it's about surrendering. Trusting that what's meant for you will not pass you by. Trusting that interruptions are not always roadblocks. Sometimes they are redirections. And trusting that divine timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't match your calendar. So here's my encouragement to you. Protect your manifestation. Be intentional with your thoughts. Be careful with your words. Be selective with your company. Don't let fear, impatience, or the past interrupt what you're building. Manifestation is not just about asking and waiting. It's about clearing the interruptions that keep you from receiving. I no longer believe that the past belongs in my future. I believe that the past taught me what I needed to know, and the present is where I build from that wisdom. When you release what no longer serves you, you make room for what's truly meant for you. And when you protect your manifestations, you align yourself with the future that reflects your highest self. That has been my mission for 2025, is aligning with my highest self. And what I find during this season is that I'm not even really sure what my highest self is. So I really am taking this time of rest to figure out who my highest self is. What is my vision? What is my mission? What am I all about? And then trying to see if I'm getting there at least, because now I want to gauge where am I on this spectrum of alignment. I would love to meet my highest self. I would love to just have conversations with her and talk about the past and, see how her perspective in the future is looking like compared to, what I'm currently going through and what this experience has brought in regards to enlightenment for her. Do you know how cool that would be to be able to sit down and have a conversation with your highest self and just kind of see that growth that, all of this hard work that you've put in for so many years within yourself to try to get to that level that you truly want to be at, and to see her walk in alignment, it would just be so beautiful. So beautiful. So my challenge for you is this: take inventory. Look at your thoughts, your words, your relationship, your habits. Ask yourself, are these aligned with what I'm manifesting, or are they interrupting it? Because manifestation is waiting for you. The only question is, will you clear the path for it? Thank you for joining me today on Orchid Blooms Podcast. If this episode resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you hold the power to release, to align, and to manifest. Thank you for supporting the Orchid Blooms podcast. Take this time to subscribe, follow. Don't forget to rate and leave a review on your podcast platform of your choice. Subscribe and follow our social media pages, Orchid Blooms YouTube channel, The Ambitious Obsession Network on Facebook, at The Ambitious Ops on Twitter, at The Ambitious Net on Instagram. Don't forget to share your favorite podcast episode with your family and friends. Until next time, keep blooming. I hope you have a splendid day.